Hey, today I'm not doing a random one. There's a story, parable, that has been on my mind quite a bit. I'm just going to read it because I'd rather God speak than me. This is from Matthew chapter 25, verse 14 through 30. We're reading, of course, New King James, parable of the talents. For the kingdom of heaven is like a man traveling to a far country, who called his own servants and delivered his goods to them. And to one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, to each according to his own ability. And immediately he went on a journey. Then he who had received the 5 talents went, traded with them, and made another 5 talents. And likewise he who had received 2 gained 2 more also. But he who had received 1 went and dug in the ground and hid his Lord's money. After a long time, the Lord of those servants came and settled accounts with them. So he who had received 5 talents came and brought 5 other talents, saying, Lord, you delivered to me 5 talents. Look, I've gained 5 more talents beside them. His Lord said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You were faithful over a few things. I will make you ruler over many things. Enter into the joy of your Lord. He also who had received 2 talents came and said, Lord, you delivered to me 2 talents. Look, I've gained 2 more besides them. His Lord said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You've been faithful over a few things. I will make you ruler over many things. Enter into the joy of your Lord. Then he who had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you have not sown, and gathering where you have not scattered seed. And I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground. Look, there you have what is yours. But his Lord answered him and said to him, You wicked and lazy servant, you knew that I reap where I have not sown, and gather where I have not scattered seed. So you ought to have deposited my money with the bankers, and at my coming I would have received back my own with interest. So take the talent from him and give it to him who has 10 talents. For to everyone who has, more will be given, and he will have abundance. But from him who does not have, even what he has will be taken away. And cast the unprofitable servant into the outer darkness. There will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. That entire thing is spoken by Jesus originally. I find it fascinating. In particular, he says, Lord, I knew you, this is the servant, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you have not sown and gathering where you have not scattered seed. And I was afraid and went and hid your talent in the ground. Look, there you have what is yours. So, this is the servant who sort of had 1 and started with 1 and ended up with 1 was very focused on making sure that he didn't lose what was his master's, what was his Lord's, right? He didn't want to lose it. When his Lord returned, he wanted to make sure that he could return what belonged to him. And so, as a result, he was afraid, he hid it. He didn't use and leverage, I suppose, realistically, the talent that was given to him to create more. That is rain. I can hear rain. When it rains, it pours. To me, I've been given a lot more than most people. When I was not even a year old, and let me tell you a story. I may have told it, I'm not sure. But for those who don't know, when I was 10 months old, I was I was a baby when I was 10 months old, of course. And, being trialed on sort of hard foods, solid foods, from that sort of 6 to 12 month age. And there was a time where, my mother was at home and it was just me and her and I was crying and whatever and she was eating. And she gives me a bit of her toast and it, made me quiet because I was eating. Great. So she's going about her day and she looks over at me and I am not doing so good. I was sort of blue in the face, raspy, started crying more. And the long story short, she rushed me to the doctor, which was around the corner, not the hospital, but the doctor was literally around the corner. And and the doctor basically, treated me and looked after me and brought me back to my mother. She took me for a checkup a little while later, and she says, the doctor said to my mother, she goes, I didn't want to tell you this, but when you handed him to me, he was dead. There was no pulse. He was blue. There was, no oxygen. What caused it? Peanut allergy. That was how my mother discovered that I have a life-threatening peanut allergy. And yeah, a couple of days after she saved me, that doctor, she let my mother know that, he had no pulse. He was basically gone. No breathing, no blood supply, no nothing. And here I am today, as far as I'm aware, not even so much as a little brain damage. So I've been given, we're given, as Christians, we're given life and life to the full. I was given that multiple times. And so this is really, this passage of the Bible really resonates with me. God, my master, has given me a lot. And I look at the way I live sometimes, and what am I going to be able to give back when he comes? Am I even realistically going to be able to give back my whole life? I can look back at times where I walked away from him. The answer is no. I can't even give back what he's given me. So what should I be doing? We're told in this passage that for everyone who has, more will be given, and he will have an abundance. But from him who does not have, even what he has will be taken away, and cast the unprofitable servant into the outer darkness. I don't want to go to the outer darkness. I don't want to, whatever that looks like, in terms of, because, we know salvation comes through the blood of Jesus, but I want to give back. I really want to give back. I know, there's so much that God has given me that was not mine. I own none of it. I'm owed none of it. I owe it back. And, I look at even primarily my career. I've followed what I've wanted to do. I've followed my heart, so to speak. And it's led to, I've been very, very blessed. I know there's a lot of opportunities that God's given me, even in my own career, that have been fantastic. But I'm starting to really question if there's something else that God would have me do. And I'm at this point in time, I'm really trying to dive deep. I'm going to be praying a lot about it. And I want my life to be, if God's given me 5 talents, I want to give back 10, 15, 20, 50, And right now I feel like I couldn't even give back what's been given to me. So have a think about that for you. Maybe there's opportunity. Maybe there's gifts you've been given. Gifts that you have, who you are, skills, talents, opportunities that you've been given that you're not using in a way that glorifies or honors or builds up more for God. It's a real thing. Anyway, so again, Matthew 25, verse 14 to 30. If I can, I don't know who watches this. If you could please pray for me that whatever I'm supposed to be doing for God will become, the very next step at least, will become so evident that it'll be impossible for me to ignore, so that I can take that next step. I do feel like I have an idea, and I do feel like there's been a lot of guidance, even just in a short period of time. But if I'm wrong, if I'm misunderstanding what God would have me do, then just pray for some certainty in terms of the next step and trusting him. So that's my request. Hope you have a fantastic week, and I will talk to you soon.